Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Wednesday evening for a time of prayer. And we're going to just bring the requests of the flock of God before the Lord. Just before we read from the scriptures and mention the prayer needs, could I just thank everyone for your faithfulness to the Lord and to His house. Those of you who have been giving their offerings in direct to the bank. Those of you who have been coming to my home and posting them through the letterbox to Brother David Rainey and Peter Comfort, who've been going around collecting the tithes and offerings from people who can't leave their homes. I know the Lord will richly bless you for your faithfulness, and if you can't get out of the house, just please let us know and we'll try and arrange one of the lads to come and pick up your tithes. So thank you again, and I know indeed that the Lord will bless you, that you've put Him first still, even in the midst of these circumstances. Hallelujah. Before we come to prayer, I always like to read the scriptures, and can I read for you a beautiful psalm? It's Psalm 27. I'll just read a few verses. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, come up upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in His temple. For in the time of trouble He shall hide me in His pavilion, and in the secret of His tabernacle shall He hide me. He shall set me upon a rock. And we just, actually, we could go to the last verse of Psalm 27. It tells us, wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and He shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. What a beautiful verse. Wait on the Lord, be of good courage. And if we wait on the Lord, and if we be of good courage, it tells us He shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. I would just like to mention the needs before you. As we begin, we'll obviously thank the Lord for answered prayer. And young Chloe McNeese, I was talking to her yesterday, and Chloe was telling me that it has been on the 30th of April. It will have been a month, or 31 days, but I think she said a month from she last had a seizure. Now, anyone that knows Chloe knows that if Chloe could go through a day without a seizure, it would be a miracle in itself. And here we are, and a full month later, and she hasn't had a seizure, and we just thank the Lord for that. And those that know Chloe would know, I think I heard at one time, there was one day she took 19 seizures in one day, and it just shows God's hand in answering prayer upon her. So just continue to pray for Chloe. Remember, and you can keep these notes in your prayer notebook, or these names in your prayer notebook. Those in residential and nursing homes, we're thinking of Helen Wilson, Mara Kennedy, Lila Thompson, Joan Cummings, Wesley Boyle, Charles and Doreen Ives. Thinking of those at home, Betty McComish, Elizabeth Burns, Sam Reed, Jim and Margaret Kelly, Jim and Marion Halliday. We're thinking of Jackie and Margaret Doran. Margaret hadn't been too well for a long time, so we remember Margaret. We're remembering all those in bereavement at this time. Bereavement's bad enough, but at this particular time when families can't even get to attend the funeral properly, it makes it a lot harder. So we just pray for all those families and hope that there'll be some resolution to this situation. Remembering Joanne Sims' mother, Gillian Morrison's mother, she fell. She was in a nursing home and had to get staples in her head. We're remembering Elizabeth Bloomer, who fell and broke her hip. We're thinking of her husband, who needs to continue his leukemia treatment. It's been held up because of the COVID-19. So just hopefully, we heard today that these avenues are opening up again, and we just hope he gets his treatment. We're thinking of a brother with a blood clot on his lung, that the Lord would just relieve any pain. We're thinking of Brother Jim Nesbitt. We're just praying that if there's any pain, any shortness of breath, or any sickness, that the Lord would just be near Jim. Just speaking to him the other day, and he's in good spirits, and I know he would appreciate all your prayers. Thinking of those with COVID-19, we're thinking of Donna, who is Colin Nichols' sister, Melanie and David Walker, Jackie McNeese, and a lady called Hilary Fairley, that the Lord would be near unto her. And all those with this COVID-19, we just bring them before the throne of grace. Thinking of those with cancer, Martin McCrory, Roderick Coulter, Rob Laverty's father. We're thinking of Ty Green, this young man who helps Jim and Margaret Kelly in Turkey. He has a rare form of cancer, and we're praying for him. Thinking of our government, our National Health Service, carers, our fire, police, ambulance, chemists, shop workers, drivers, refuge collectors, food suppliers, farmers, our armed forces as they get more and more involved. We just pray for all those helping us at the moment. We're thinking of Glen McIntyre House and all the nursing homes, that God would just put a hedge of protection around about them and the staff. We're thinking of the young people who are at the front line, those we know. We're thinking of Daniel and Lara, Rebecca Bennett, Rachel Morrow. We're thinking of Lindsay, David Cosgrove's daughter. We're thinking of Jordan Brown and young Amy Boyle, who's a doctor in Craigavon. We're thinking of our SALT team. We're just thanking the Lord that we're able to continue and supply all these necessities for people. We're thinking of the clients, that there'll be a door opened here where we may get them to a saving knowledge of the Lord. You know, it's good that we have made this appointment with the Lord to spend some time in prayer. And I was just thinking about that this afternoon when I was just noting down all the names and making phone calls to check that I'm as up to date as I can be with the needs. And I found a quote from Corrie ten Boom. It says, "Don't pray when you feel like it. Have an appointment with God and keep it." Isn't that wonderful? Don't pray when you feel like it. Have an appointment with God and keep it. A man is powerful on his knees. You know, we tend to minimize the power of prayer. Prayer changes things. Prayer changes life. Prayer changes situations. Prayer changes difficulties. Prayer changes everything. And so let's, in our hearts, tonight at 7:30, yes, but every night, every morning and every evening as we lay down, let's come before the Lord in prayer. May the Lord richly bless you and keep you. Amen.